Virus is raging.
The U.S. will probably climb past 100,000 infections per day within the next couple of weeks.
If they continue on the course we're on, there's going to be a whole lot of pain in this country. If they continue on the course we're on, there's going to be a whole lot of pain in this country.
I think, we're the United States, and the best we could do was be the worst in the world. It just doesn't sit right with me.
You write in the latest op-ed in the New York Times about the president saying, if we re-elect him, this is a quote, if we re-elect him knowing what a norm-destroying, divisive, corrupt liar he is, and the world will not treat the last 4 years as an aberration, it will treat him as an affirmation that we've changed. The world will not just look at America differently, but Americans differently, and with good reasons. Well, I mean, what about the idea that America is bigger than any one leader?
Well, it really is this idea that every democracy, or many democracies in their histories, Anderson, have taken a flyer on a populist, fast-talking, con man. I come from Minnesota. We had a governor we took a flyer on like that. It happens in history. You can do it once, but when you do it twice, then it's no longer about who he is. It's about who you are. The whole world will look differently at us if we were to reaffirm and re-elect this man, because then the world will actually start looking at us really like it looks at Russia and China, just another transactional country. They'll look at us as a country that decided to change the Statue of Liberty from giving you're tired, you're poor, those seeking, to be free, yearning to be free, to get the hell off my lawn. That's what the Statue of Liberty will be saying. Get the hell off my lawn. And that will affect the whole world. Because, Anderson, the world likes to make fun of America. They love to make fun of our naivete. We think every problem has a solution, but deep down they envy our naivete. They envy our optimism, because these are people who come often from very cynical and corrupt countries. And the fact that they always know out there in the world that there's this place called America, somewhere over the rainbow, where they do have free and fair, honest elections, where you can get things done in the court without corruption. Knowing that place is out there, and that actually will speak up for human rights and the right values around the world. That is so important for the world. And if we go dark, the whole world goes dark.
Is no surprise. Only Trump's inaction is surprising. And yet there's good news. The monster only haunts us if we allow it to. We know what to wear and how to live. But too many in places with spread are being told that they don't have to, and they're choosing to believe. That's why the scariest people this Halloween, ironically, will be the ones not wearing masks.
I went through the CDC data because I kept hearing about new infections, but I was like, well, why aren't they talking about deaths? Oh, because the number is almost nothing.
Required for everyone in all indoor and outdoor public spaces, with few exceptions. Some in the city aren't happy about it.
Well, now the head of the coronavirus task force in the United States, Mike Pence, 5 or 6 of his staff members now have the coronavirus. So he can't even protect his own staff in the White House. And how is he going to protect you? They've just announced that they're going to be basically giving up, well, they've never tried, to implement masks and other means for protecting people. Well, we know they hold their own rallies. In fact, Mike Pence again today, and Trump today and yesterday, as I understand, were holding more rallies. We know that they don't demand masks, and the rates of infection are skyrocketing in the United States. Deaths are way up, and other countries like South Korea seem to know how to do it. Americans don't seem to know how to do it. So on we go, and the Trump administration has never taken it seriously, never implemented anything other than promises. Oh, do you remember? Trump said it was going to go away, just disappear, and it's going to be gone by Easter. Everything's under control, and he says eventually it will disappear. I guess after how many have died, and so not a good scene. Well, anybody who's known, worked in corporations or big businesses knows that there are people like Trump all over the place who think they know how to run government, how to run nations because they work in business. And, so what happens is they get into government and they really don't have a clue. And somebody like Trump, who's basically a loser, boosts his own ego by putting other people down, creates division to sort of exploit those divisions for his benefit. That's how he won his electoral board, electoral college victory. And he's figured out that there's so many people who would take him for his word that he could actually win the presidency, and that's what he did. But he's basically a con man, and like I said, we all know people like that in business. If you've worked in large corporations, they're a dime a dozen. And Trump's been on TV, so he's gained recognition, but he really doesn't have a clue. So, simple thing, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. As I said, I'm in Italy, and it's a routine here. People do it. Now they've reinforced it again because over the summer, going to the beach, cases are rising, and so here we go again here in Europe. But there's an understanding of what you have to do. Nobody says, or nobody challenges the need, the necessity, or the health requirement to wear a mask. So Americans used to be able to solve problems, and 8-9 months now into pandemic, and they still debate whether they should wear a mask. Even all the experts, the health experts, indicate that's a primary source for preventing the virus. So anyway, make sure you vote, and make sure you vote him out, because he's really not what he likes to pretend he is. And I think for a lot of us it was obvious from the beginning, and it's borne itself out now where he really doesn't have a clue. And not having a clue as president is dangerous. So go out and vote. Thank you very much.
Keep the patients conscious now, able to talk clearly of how dangerous the disease is. Retired carpenter Jack has no idea where he got it or why people insist on breaking the rules.
Ridiculous. I just don't understand that why they do it. They have no idea of the consequences of it,
It really does weigh you down when patients in work are really unwell, dying in a very specific way, and yet there's people who know nothing about the virus saying that it's not real and it doesn't exist. Yeah, last weekend on my nights, as soon as I arrived here, a lady had come to the ward and unfortunately passed away almost immediately, giving some relatives a bag and a stick of a lady who has passed away in the bed in front of them. It's quite difficult. It's difficult for them and it's difficult for us as well.
There's something further I want to discuss regarding the current president's destructive attitudes towards immigrants, the way he disparages and denigrates immigrants. And, you know, we're all immigrants unless we're Native Americans. And, you know, immigrants have built nations, and Canada is no exception. Where I live in Toronto, more than half of the residents there were born in another country. I'm an immigrant. And we have 160 odd languages spoken in Toronto. The diversity and the fabric of society is fully enriched by immigrants. So again, this is an issue that really is destructive and unnecessary. The pandemic has shown that the world is one. We all interdepend on one another. The world's problems are global. You know, weather crisis and disease, as we found out, and various solutions, space exploration, war and peace. So again, time for change with the current president, because he just doesn't get it, and he just doesn't care, as we can see by his recent declaration that oh well, the pandemic's really too difficult to deal with. We're going to just look for vaccines, while other countries are making strides in managing and protecting the safety of everyone. So I wanted to bring up the issue of immigrants, and you know, it's really been a sad day, especially for the United States, who prides itself on the diversity that, you know, makes society prosperous and pleasant for all. So that's it for the moment, and I should think of more things to talk about. I'd just like to address a little further the notion that America is respected more with a Donald Trump in office. I live outside the United States. I travel outside of the United States. I have friends in the United States, and from my perspective, it's just not true. The world looks at the United States now with bewilderment, and wonder, why do they put up with the nonsense that Trump represents these days? From building walls on borders to removing children from parents at the border, to having no plan whatsoever 8 months into a pandemic. America first means America only, and America lonely, turning its back on its friends and allies, and conflating the right to protest with law and order. These are issues that people are very concerned about, and everyone I talk to is just waiting for the day that this can come to an end, and we get somebody in who actually has some decency and competence. So that's my little bit for the evening.